Hey folks, welcome back to the channel, your home for all content Lord of the Rings home. Today's video, we're going to be talking about how to beat the nodes that you need to beat before you can get to the Elladan and the Arwen farmable nodes in both the Light and Shadow campaign. Basically, you need to beat Shadow 5-3 really to get to the Arwen node. That's the hard one because you can't use Ironhide, right? You can see it here. They give you an Ironhide, so you can't use your beefed up Ironhide. And then Light 5-8, the one right before Elladan, is also pretty difficult. So I'm going to show you my playthrough on my free-to-play account on both of those nodes, 5-3 Shadow and 5-8 Light, and we're going to go through the strategy I used. You don't need to get 3 stars on them, right? And my thinking is, not my thinking, basically what happens is if you can pass those nodes, then you can pretty easily 3-star the nodes with Elladan and Arwen on them. So it's these nodes you need to worry about. Let's hop into it. Basically, I think you probably need to have 5-star characters, especially for this 5-3 Shadow node here. I'm using Grimlers, and he kind of sucks. So if you've got somebody else here that's good, Morja is good in this node. So he's worth getting up. I don't think he's 5-star on my team here, but really the person that carries this is Ugluk. I have him at 7 stars on my free-to-play account, and I also have his basic at level 2, which means he gets 2 stacks of Provoke. That turns out to really help because it essentially funnels all of the attacks into Ugluk, and he's got pretty good armor and HP pool, and basically everybody else can stay alive. So first thing you want to do, you want to be blinding the archer, just to make sure he can't do his big attack. And then, yeah, just getting a little bit of buffs out. The thing you have to worry about here is that Sergeant Ara here can mark. And if she marks one of your other players outside of Ugluk, it's probably game over. So I also slow down this light infantry guy here because he gets might, and I just want to make sure that I have a little bit more control on him. Got rid of the might anyway. I'm just going to keep going on the Gondor lookout, and this is important here. I'm going to ability block Sergeant Ara on turn 2 here. And the reason I'm doing that is so that she can't use her marked ability. Usually it comes up on turn 2. I've seen people say that they do it first turn. I haven't, and any of the playthroughs I've done, I haven't seen them do that. But my understanding is like it's a turn 2 ability, right? And if you ability block, then she can't do it, and she'll do it on turn 3, which is important because then you should have Ugluk's Provoke up. So again, it's just kind of whittling away. Here's also an important thing here. I'm going to put Disrupted on the Knight because also on turn 2, the Knight is going to taunt. It's okay if you don't land it. You just have to work around it, and it's going to take a little bit longer, but getting a Disrupted on the Knight means he basically does his turn where he taunts and puts buffs on himself. Wasted turn, right? Because you've got the Disrupted. You can keep chunking away at the archer here. Boom. Wasted turn. Ironhide comes in. Okay. My Grimlers got defeated there, which is basically one hit. That's okay. If that happens, you still should keep going. Give it a try. Don't just give up right away on these because it's a lot of energy, 16 energy, right? And you can still do it, as you'll see. And you don't need 3 stars, right? Okay, so I went for the infantry next because he hits so hard. As you saw, he one-hit my Grimlers, who is not... I mean, he's not like super strong, but he's got some pretty decent stats on him. And then I'm doing Sergeant Ara. You can see she used the marked thing now, but my Ugluk has Provoke, so it's going right into Ugluk, and he's already got the Provoke anyway, so who cares? So that was a mistake. Shouldn't have done that. What you should be doing is the Gondor Knight's essentially just going to keep buffing himself, and so you want to save him for last, because then you can do what I'm doing right now, which is I'm just using basics, and I'm getting everybody's cooldowns back. I don't need to heal, so I'm just going to keep getting the cooldowns. I don't know why I would do that. Yep. Just keep on. Basic, basic, basic. I think one trick you can do with Mauher, though, is if you're going to essentially have like a turn right here, so I think I'm going to do it right here. Yeah. So this is so that I can go into the next round and have like haste, deadly, and basically get a big crit off. Okay, second wave, another Sergeant Ara who can mark. Heavy infantry is okay, but again, you want to go for the Gondor Archer here first. And I think I just want to get haste on somebody. Yeah. And expose, slow down, didn't stick. That's okay. Blind is important here. So you want to make sure you have that up for the second one because he does a big AoE, right? Yeah, I don't think it's super important here. I don't think it's super, yeah, it's not super important. Okay. So with the archer gone, I think I pretty much focus on Sergeant R next. Again, trying to make sure that, maybe I don't. It may not matter. Okay, I guess I go for the heavy infantry next. I'm worried about a little bit about the damage, and then go for Sergeant R last. That's fine. You could probably do in either order there. And again, going into the third round, you've got one character left here. You're probably just using basics. You want to make sure that your cooldowns have reset and you're ready to go into the last round. So I'm not using any of my abilities there. It's especially important that you do that going into round 3. Again, using that second ability on Mauher just to get that. This is just to give myself a little bit of healing. Boom. The most important thing about the third wave here is that you need to get Denethor down. So I basically unload all of my skills into him. The slow didn't stick. You can, in this, you can, yeah, I think I ability block Denethor. That, I think you should ability block before you blind here. And then I'm going to end up applying Disrupted to Boromir here, or try. He resisted. The reason for that is because if you get Denethor down to a certain amount of damage, I think Boromir automatically provokes. So that's okay. You don't need to blind that first attack. You really just want to keep focusing on Denethor. I blind the light infantry just because he's got the might up and I don't want to get one hit. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of healing. And so you can see that even without Grimlers, we're one man down, we're still okay. That's just to give myself, put the expose on, give myself a little haste. It's important you probably taunt there. Basically on his, well, he ability blocked him the first turn, so he just did a basic. He just did his first ability on there. It's important that you have the taunt up on Ugluk for when he does the second ability, because that is a big attack and that will wipe you out. So again, just continuing to work down Denethor. Boom, he's out. So the order is Denethor, Boromir, light infantry, heavy infantry, and then whatever this guy is, the guy who sells you hamburgers. From there, it's pretty easy, I think, once you get Denethor out, because he kind of supercharges the team. But Boromir's nothing to, smirk at either. So you need to make sure that you get Boromir down, and then after that, it's essentially just clean up the rest, right? It's not too bad. And just a reminder, the person that they give you in these particular modes, right? So the Ironhide you get here, he can die. You still can get, if he's the only one who dies, you could get 3 stars on this. It's not, again, super important because we're not trying to get character shards here, but if you're looking to sort of be a completionist, I should say. Okay. That's the basic premise of Shadow 5-3. Like I said, if you can beat Shadow 5-3, you can pretty much 3-star Shadow 5-5, even if you get 1 star on Shadow 3-3. The key is probably having, 5 5-star characters, maybe one that's below that. I think my Morja is like 3 or 4 stars, but making sure that they've got a little bit of beef. Ugluk definitely carries here. He's 7-star, and that 2-turn provoke with the level 6 basic is very important. Let's move on to Light 5-8. Here's my squad. I use Naramiri, not Pippin. But, the standard Rohan 3 with Strider. And then plus somebody else usually. The loading takes forever. Okay. So I did this actually 2 times this morning. And a lot of a squad is 5 stars. I think everybody is 5 stars. Again, super important. AMR is 6 stars, Strider is 6 stars, and then some of the others might be 5 or 6 stars. This one is easier than Shadow 5-3, I think. The whole goal here is to get out Wubate first. Obviously, if you can take him out before he does his AoE slow, or if you have a disable, that would be, critical. I don't think that worked in my case here. I got him pretty, yeah. So you want to make sure, I mean, Eowyn's got a cleanse on her turn too, so that's fine. Always be tanking with Fro. Just again, so that one of your characters here, the given character here dies and not anybody else. Oh, let me back up. This is, I think, a critical piece here. No. Sorry. He's going to do this. This guy in the back here, I forget what his name is. It's either the motivator. No, he's the motivator. I forget. So I'm going to try. Yeah, it's the motivator. I'm going to try and ability block him. I can't, but that is something you should try and do. Because when he goes, he's essentially going to give like half of his health back plus might to Wubate. Basically anybody who's the most injured person. And so you either want one Wubate to be dead, or you want to ability block him or disable him so that he can't do that. But I just managed to kill Wubate. That's why I didn't heal with Naramiri there. And then the next person you're going for is the Grunt. These two are basically support characters. They do a lot of buffing. So the person to go for, the person who does the damage is the Grunt. That's the next one. And then after that, you want to go for the Motivator because he does do some damage sometimes, but not, it's not a whole lot, right? But he does do some damage. And you want to leave whatever this guy's Taskmaster. You want to leave the Motivator for last. And the reason for that is because he basically just switches off between buffing himself or others. And again, you can kind of set yourself up for the next wave by just doing basics into him and making sure everything's on cooldown. You've got everybody healed up. Be careful of taunting with Eothane, because unless you've got him pretty juiced, like juiced to the gills, he is probably going to die. And I think, yeah, it's very close here. Going for the Taskmaster next. This is not too terribly interesting. Strider, you always want to go into somebody with the Banes when you hit him with the Strider's Tipper. A basic attack. I just like the way he swings his sword. I think the animation looks cool, and I call it a Tipper. Don't do it. Don't do it, Swag. Thank you. Just doing basics. Fro's basic actually hits relatively hard too, so be mindful of that. If you think that they might not do a bunch of damage, you could probably try it out because she does a lot of damage. Heals himself up, gives himself might. That's fine. All we're doing is getting our basics back. Look at that. Big chunk of damage. Aemir is pretty important here, I would say. Just because he is a damage machine with his assists. Even when you can't summon the guy, it's fine. First person you're going to go for here is the Troll Handler, Nuraz, because he's basically going to be the one who's healing everybody, and you want to take that out as soon as possible. Pretty self-explanatory for Wave 2, I think. Eothane is dead. Again, that's okay, because this is not the node that we are getting Elladan on. It's the one node right before that seems pretty much harder, or a lot harder. Again, if you can pass this node, then I think you can pretty much 3-star the Elladan node. I did a check on some of the footage I had, and it was actually, seemed like it was a walk in the park. The last wave of the Elladan node is basically like a full Haradrim team, and so for that, I just recommend that you go for Tibeb first, and then Wubate and Bekaloo, and then you can kind of clean up the other two. It's pretty self-explanatory. I think the first wave has a troll. Obviously, go for the troll first. That battle is a lot easier. I've lost Eothane. That's okay. I'm going into round 3 here. Pretty supercharged, I would say. First person you're going to go for is the Troll Brute. The issue with the Troll Brute, I'll show you right now. Look at that. Multi-hit attacks stack a bunch of poisons. This is why it's important to have somebody who can cleanse on your team as well as heal. Both Pippin and Naramiri serve that function. Okay. So I stunned the Troll Brute here, so I'm not too terribly worried about him at the moment, but I still want to get a decent amount of damage in there. Because he hits hard, and if you can prevent him from getting out any attacks, then you're doing well. The reason I try and ability block Roble here is because his next attack is going to be a big AoE attack, and I just want to prevent that, essentially. Okay, that's good enough. So now we'll switch to Roble. I think once you can kind of get past that first wave and you know how to set yourself up in the second wave, this one's pretty easy. Look at that. Burn death over there, burn on cooldown, off cooldown here, take care of Roble. And then you're just going to go for the Gouger and then the Taskmaster here. And that's pretty much it. I think the important parts for this team are getting Aemir in there, and I think you have to have a pretty good, decent healer, either Naramiri or Pippin, and they've got to have their healing up. I prefer Naramiri because I can cleanse with her, you know, actively choose to who I want. Well, it's not actively, but I have a little bit more control over who I cleanse and when. And then, yeah, it's just being mindful of using your skills. I definitely think this node is a lot easier than Shadow 5-3. But that's all for now. If you found this engaging or useful, please hit the subscribe button and take it easy.